Over the years, we have seen a ton of high school basketball players who are hyped up to be the next big thing. And in some cases, these players live up to the hype, but in others, they don't necessarily meet the expectations. And today, I'm here to tell you the top 5 most overhyped players in high school basketball history. Hype, attention, clout, and views, it's all the same thing, but also it comes with a lot of pressure. Once you get this hype, you are expected to put on a show and show out every game. Living up to this hype, well, it's a lot easier said than done. So without further ado, let's get into the top 5 most overhyped players of all time. Coming in at number 5, we have Isaiah Washington, aka the Jelly Fam. Isaiah Washington was a 6'1" point guard from the Bronx, New York. In high school, he was a very smooth looking player, and this smooth ability earned him a 4-star recruiting ranking. Isaiah Washington really got famous and blew up and received his hype off of the jelly layups. He wound up signing with Minnesota University, and he was really expected to be a one and done type of player. And yeah, let's just say that did not happen. In his first season at Minnesota, he only started 4 games and averaged 8.7 points, which isn't too bad, but he definitely did not live up to the hype. He did average 2.3 assists per game, but he also averaged over a turnover and a half per game as well. All in all, it just really seemed like a bad year, so it was too early to write him off. Or was it? Going into the next year, he didn't start a single game and his points per game dropped from 8 to 4. There's not too much to say about his sophomore year, it just wasn't that good. After his sophomore year, he wound up transferring to Iona. And this is where he actually started seeing a little more success. He actually started 23 of the games this year. He saw an increase in almost all of his stats. He jumped his points up to 11.4 and his assists up to 4. I know this really may not matter, but he almost averaged 2 steals per game as well, which is pretty impressive. However, he also averaged over 2 turnovers per game, which isn't good at all. Overall summary for Isaiah Washington: great high school player and prospect, just an average college player, and that's why he comes in at number 5 on the list. Coming in at number 4, we have no other than Marcus Levesque Jr. This guy has my personal all-time favorite high school mixtape. He also has one of the most viewed mixtapes of all time as well. His mixtape currently has over 8 million views. That's pretty good numbers. If you're a hooper, I know at some point in your life you saw his mixtape. It goes crazy. Marcus Levesque Jr. was really known for his crazy handles, and he had a pretty good crossover and a decent mid-range shot. And for hype, he had a lot of it. Listen to these stats. As a freshman in high school, he averaged 31.7 points per game, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds per game, and also over 3 steals. And these numbers, they get even crazier, so just listen. His next year as a sophomore, he averaged over 30 points per game, only 2 assists, and 4 rebounds. But hey, he was putting up some points, man. For his junior year, he basically got double teamed, triple teamed, and I even saw him get quadruple teamed at times, so he had a tough year, but he still put up over 22 points per game. We saw a huge increase in his assists. He jumped that up to 5.6, and he also averaged over 3 rebounds and 2 steals per game. These stats speak for themselves, and his game in high school spoke for itself. He had a ton of hype. Marcus was also labeled a 4-star recruit as well. He wound up deciding to play his college basketball at St. John's, and he started almost every game as a freshman, which is really good. But he didn't just start, he made an immediate impact, averaging right at 16 points per game. As a freshman in college, that's really good. He also showed that he can still get flashy with it in college, because he averaged over 3.5 assists per game. Flash forward to the next season, which was the year of 2017 through 2018, things were a little bit different. He only played in 7 games, which he started, and his points per game were right at what it was his freshman year. He averaged 15 points per game. But after this season, he basically disappeared and quit playing college basketball. A really just sad story, because he was doing great even in college, he just fell off. You hate to see it when a player falls off right when they're doing pretty good, but It does happen. With the hype and numbers he was putting up at high school and what happened in college, this is why Marcus Levesque Jr. comes in at number 4 on our list. Coming in at number 3, you guys knew he was going to make the list, and he's everybody's most hated or most liked player. Probably most hated. We have Julian Newman. I'm going to try to keep this one short and simple because if you're watching this video, I assume you know who this kid is and you already know a little about him. Well, first things first, for Julian Newman, he started playing varsity basketball as just a 5th grader. I understand you guys may not like him, but you gotta admit that's pretty impressive. So with playing varsity at such a young age and actually putting up points at such a young age, he received a ton of hype. Before I go any farther in this video, I just want to say, you guys probably thought he was going to be number 1. Well, he's not number 1 for many reasons because the other 2 guys in front of him actually received way more hype than him. When Julian Newman was growing up, he made multiple appearances on TV shows, and this is when he really started to gain a ton of attention. A big part in him receiving his attention also has to do with his dad because he hypes him up as well. And as Julian Newman has only gotten older, his game hasn't gotten worse, but it seems like he reached his peak at such a young age, so there's nowhere else to go. Julian Newman had a lot of potential and it seemed like he did, but I think he reached his potential too soon, and this is why he comes in at number 3 on our list. Coming in at number 2 on our list, we have no other than the shift team general, Trevor Dunbar. Trevor Dunbar, man, this is a major throwback for my old heads. This guy was receiving his attention along the same time as Marcus Levesque, and really for the same reasons. He had handles. They don't call him the shift team general for no reason. He also had a pretty good layup package and a mean pull-up jump shot. Trevor Dunbar, unlike all of the other people in this video, didn't receive a lot of attention from colleges. He did, however, manage to pick up a D1 offer and he wound up signing with Washington State. Long story short, that did not work out whatsoever. He didn't play at all. He averaged a measly 0.8 points per game, talking about a fall off. So when he realized that wasn't going to work out at Washington State, he wound up transferring. He wound up going to a JUCO college in San Francisco, and in 33 games played, he actually did okay. He averaged right at 12 points per game and shot over 47%. He had a pretty good 3-point percentage as well. He shot 37% from deep. But for the hype he was receiving in high school, it just didn't match up whatsoever. And that is why Trevor Dunbar comes in at number 2 on our list. Coming in at number 1 on our top 5 most overhyped players in high school basketball history, we have 7th Woods. 7th Woods currently has the most viewed high school basketball mixtape of all time, sitting right at 15 million views. And you want to know something crazy about this? He was only 14. In this mixtape, he was absolutely bodying people at the age of 14. The hype this kid was receiving was unimaginable. I remember when these videos were coming out, people were saying he was the next Michael Jordan or LeBron James. He got the Michael Jordan comparison more because, well, he was going to North Carolina and he was also wearing Michael Jordan's number. And their frame and body build, it's kind of similar. I cannot tell you how many videos he had with over 1 million views because I'm sure it's over 15 or 20. I'll throw the clips up on the screen. I don't understand how a 14-year-old can do what he was doing. As an 8th grader, yes, an 8th grader, he averaged 15 points per game on varsity. And as a freshman, he averaged 20 points per game. But he couldn't just score, he could also rebound and pass. He averaged 4 assists per game and nearly 4 rebounds. I'm not going to run through all of his stats for his high school career, just know this guy was putting up crazy numbers. Now the reason this guy is number 1 is because he started off as a 5-star recruit all the way up until his senior year. So he basically just made a slow decline. However, he wound up finishing his high school career as a 4-star recruit and still signed with North Carolina. He wound up playing 3 years at North Carolina and only started 1 game. In his first year at North Carolina, he averaged a measly 1.5 points per game. And you can't write off people in their first year, so it's okay. We was like, yo, maybe, you know, he's just not playing a lot. He's sitting behind other people. So going into his second year, we was trying to have an open mind. Well, it actually got worse. He only averaged 1.1 points as a sophomore. And at this point, this is when you have to start to think, is he really a bust, or is he just, you know, slowly developing into the system? And well, for his junior year, he only averaged 2.5 points per game. This is by far the biggest fall off by any high school hyped up player of all time, in my opinion. I mean, if you disagree, I just don't understand how. This guy was averaging 20 points per game as an 8th grader on varsity and wound up averaging almost 30 throughout his whole high school career to averaging 1 point per game in college for 3 years. I don't know how that happens. It's just crazy how the hype goes up and players die off. And for this huge drop off in stats, for the attention and hype that 7th Woods was receiving, I mean, he was being compared to Michael Jordan. This is why he comes in at number 1 on our list. When you go from dunking on people at the age of 14 and averaging 30 points per game and being compared to Michael Jordan to averaging 1 point per game for 3 years, that's the biggest fall off in my opinion. But hey man, with all of this being said, that's about gonna wrap up this video. Let me know if you guys like this video. I haven't ever seen a video like this, and I really thought it was an interesting topic. So if y'all want to see a part 2 to this, y'all let me know in the comment section down below. And also let me know on what players I missed out, and maybe I'll make a part 2 on the player you suggest. But yeah man, sorry this outro's long. Thanks for watching if you made it to this point. I know this was a little different type of video for my channel, but I like making different content. If you're new to the channel, join the family, hit that subscribe button, and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out y'all. Peace.